So we heard from you earlier today on Radio Gibraltar, and you did say that you welcomed the government's active travel strategy as a step towards that greener Gibraltar we're all talking about. So based on last night, what do you think needs to be done for people to get on board with that strategy?
So I think one thing that kept coming up was that we really need a united approach in this, whether the plan is perfect or has everything everybody wants. We've seen that there's a strange kind of conversation, debate going on about whether it's cyclists versus motorists, or those trying to make Gibraltar a more walkable place versus those who tell us we can't do it. Whereas I think everyone in that room very much agreed, not only can we do it, but we need to do it to make Gibraltar the beautiful, walkable city it can be. And what we agreed was that needs to be a united political strategy of let's come together. We have a plan now, let's see it through, let's allocate a budget to it, let's actually start implementing some of the pieces in there.
I think we have some images of the conversation last night on screen at the moment for everyone to see. But on that point of uniting people, so as you say, there is some sort of an us versus them mentality, perhaps with cyclists and motorists, and it is great to unite people, but how do you actually do that?
Exactly, and I think the first thing to understand is that these aren't even two separate groups of people, because the people who go cycling on a Saturday morning then need to drive their kids to school, or they need to go do their shopping in Spain. So it's actually, we're not trying to get rid of cars or anything. It's about just having the vehicle that's suitable for each purpose and trying to reduce congestion on the roads. So we had a lot of discussion around that, around reducing, for example, eliminating idling zones from school so that so that kids can actually get to school okay, not be breathing in fumes from the cars left there. And it's those kind of things that need some political action and need someone to say, this is what we're doing. And much like the pedestrianisation of Main Street, which was very unpopular at the time, but nowadays you walk down Main Street and no one wants cars there. It just makes it such a nicer location.
Did anyone attending last night highlight what, if anything, is missing from that strategy?
So there's a few bits, and one of the bits that Chris talked about was around the athletic side of it, and I thought that was a really interesting approach that I hadn't seen in there, that I hadn't taken, which was Gibraltar's not producing kind of cycling talent, because how can we, when it's so difficult to, let your kids start cycling on the roads here? Yes, they can learn in school, but once they're out on the roads, it's very, very dangerous. So we want to have the infrastructure in place to train people up, to train kids up, and so they can do what's a very exciting, very nice sport.
Now, in your statement about the Conversations for Change, I'm just going to quote it here. Together Gibraltar says it has no plans to adjust its role as a political party, but you want a non-partisan environment for discussing local issues. But of course, you are a political party. Yes. We're all very aware an election is coming up. Is this Together Gibraltar's way of rallying up the troops?
Well, there's certainly an element of that. Like you said, it's an election year, and we see just across the board that people are very disengaged, they're very disillusioned, they're very cynical about politics and politicians. And as a party, one of the things we believe is that an engaged public that states their views and gets active is very, very important for a democracy and to have the best Gibraltar we can. At the same time, though, as I said, we think there are issues like the transport one, where we're all on the same page. We all want to make Gibraltar a better place, but let's identify the solutions. Let's not just complain about it. Let's actually come together, not just as politicians, but as members of the public, and say, hey, there's a way we can achieve this together.